Hello, I'm Chiranjib Sengupta and you're here with me at the Energy Connect studio at the World Utilities Congress 2025 in Abu Dhabi. I'm delighted to have back in the studio with me today Dr. Sama Bilbao y Leon, Director General of the World Nuclear Association. Dr. Sama, it's such a pleasure to have you back in the studio with us.
Thank you for the opportunity to join us. It's so lovely to be here at World Utilities Congress again. Thank you.
And to start off, could you give us an overview of the global expansion of nuclear capacity as it's happening since the last time we met?
No, things are changing, right? I think that we have seen an enormous new pragmatism in many countries. And literally, countries all over the world are looking at nuclear energy as an essential way to, achieve climate goals, make sure that we do this energy security, energy independence, but also, and very importantly, to make sure that there is progress, socioeconomic development. So those three things are coming together. So in every continent in the world, we are seeing that growth. So as you know, we have this goal to triple global nuclear capacity by 2050, which seems very ambitious, but the reality is when we look at the current commitments as far as planned nuclear power plants and projected growth in many countries, we already are above tripling global nuclear capacity. So plans are there, of course we have to deliver, right? But this is everywhere, in every continent.
Just going a little bit deeper into that, with countries like Germany and Italy re-entering the conversation on nuclear energy, where does that take us?
Well, obviously, Europe, in Europe, we have had the very active nuclear industry for the last few years, led by France and Sweden and Czech Republic. What is perhaps new is that maybe just a week ago, the Minister or the Prime Minister of Germany announced that Germany was no longer going to oppose nuclear. So that is a very interesting political discussion. And also last week we had the parliament in Denmark actually voting in favor of making assessments whether nuclear is part of their energy future. And then you saw also Brussels in Belgium, I think it was also last week or 2 weeks ago, when they decided to stop this shutdown of nuclear and actually look at future addition of nuclear. So these are the countries that were traditionally more opposed or not supportive of nuclear. So this brings us that everywhere in Europe, they are interested in nuclear. You said Italy already a couple of years ago at the G7, they were very positive on introducing nuclear, and obviously they have changed the law. So as I said, this is a sign of pragmatism. I think that for maybe some years, some policymakers, they were looking exclusively at decarbonizing at any cost, and now we are seeing that it may come at a cost for energy security, it may come at a cost for growth and prosperity, which is something that perhaps some people didn't consider. So I think that that's what is changing the point of view.
And you touched on the goal of tripling nuclear capacity by 2050, and whenever we meet, we discuss this. Do you think something like this, that the added acceptance in Europe, will give more momentum to that journey?
No, the triple nuclear coalition of the ambitious is only growing. As you know, last year in Baku, we were able to add additional countries, so now we are to 31 countries that have supported that goal. But also last year at the New York Climate Week, we had 14 major global banks and financial institutions also endorsing this policy. And just this year in March at Zero Week, we had 15 large energy users, including Google and Amazon and Meta and Dow Chemical and Occidental, large energy users that also supported that goal. So we are creating this coalition of the ambitious that includes policymakers, financiers, energy users, of course the nuclear industry, because again, as you and I have discussed many times, this is not about nuclear or renewables or hydropower or natural gas. It's all the above. The urgency and the size of the challenge is such that we really need to work together. So I think that this realism is trickling down, and we really are working together.
That's an excellent point. However, as more countries accept nuclear energy as the future, the focus will also move on the implementation.
Right.
And the technology to sort of deliver that.
Right.
So, and we've spoken about SMRs earlier as well.
Right.
Where do you think that is right now?
Well, SMRs are moving forward. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we had a few announcements. So the construction license for Darlington in Canada. We also had construction licenses for Kairos and for other reactors. So in North America, SMRs are moving forward. And of course, you know that China already has a small modular reactor operating, and they are getting close to finalize the first one. Russia has had small modular reactors operating since 2018. So SMRs are growing, and they really are a part of the future. And as you know, the difference in SMRs is not so much the size, is the delivery methodology, right? Instead of having a big project, what we are trying to go is to move from economies of scale to an economies of series, right? To actually make these smaller reactors in a factory, put them in the back of a truck, take them to the place where they are going to be deployed, and with small civil works, just plug them in. So the idea here is to move to the nth of a kind very quickly, and to make these projects much more affordable. At the same time, many of the projects that I mentioned in North America, in Europe, all over Asia, Central Asia, in the Middle East, in Africa, many of those projects are actually going to be large reactors. So the importance of adding new capacity in relatively larger chunks continues to be a very important choice.
That's brilliantly put. And if you were to identify, let's say, one big challenge in this exciting journey ahead,
one big challenge. Well, okay, so there are several challenges, but I will identify one. So supply chain. So as you know, in many parts of the world, we have not had many construction in nuclear in a while. So the nuclear industry, the industrial infrastructure, the supply chain, the workforce has been eroded for a few years. So this is why we are working with the nuclear industry to bring this, to reveal all these capabilities. So for example, just literally last week, World Nuclear Association, we organized the World Nuclear Supply Chain Conference. This is the first time that we have organized this event, and it was huge. It was very, very, very well attended. Very importantly, there were more than 1,000 business-to-business meetings that took place throughout the 2 days of the conference. So essentially, this is the effort. I mean, this is what our members, what the industry has tasked us, help us to bring together this successful delivery team that is actually going to make this 3 times or more nuclear capacity by 2050 a reality.
Dr. Sama, it's always such a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you very much for your brilliant insights.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to join you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for watching, and you can get more interviews like this and comprehensive coverage of the energy industry at energyconnects.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media, and I'll be back with more studio interviews from the World Utilities Congress. Stay tuned.